Welcome to Caroline Effect. Today we're uncovering the powerful words that make a woman remember you long after the conversation ends, not because you tried too hard, but because you made her feel truly understood. Stop trying to impress her with looks, money, or empty compliments. The right words, spoken with confidence and sincerity, can leave a stronger impression than anything else, and today you'll learn exactly how to use them. Stop scrolling for a moment, because what you're about to hear could completely change the way you think about attraction. The difference between being overlooked and becoming unforgettable rarely comes down to looks, money, or status alone. It often comes down to the impression you leave after the conversation ends. Think about the last woman you were genuinely interested in. Maybe you worried about your appearance, your clothes, your job, or whether you could afford an impressive date. Most men spend so much energy trying to perfect those things because they've been taught that's what creates attraction. While those qualities can help make a good first impression, they aren't usually what stays in someone's mind long after you've walked away. The real difference is the emotional experience you create. It's the way you make someone feel through your confidence, presence, and words. Imagine saying something so thoughtful that she finds herself remembering the conversation hours later. Not because it was rehearsed or manipulative, but because it felt sincere and different from what she normally hears. Most men blend into the background because they repeat the same predictable compliments and conversations. The man who stands out is the one who pays attention, speaks with intention, and notices what everyone else overlooks. Women are often drawn to a man who feels grounded in himself, someone who doesn't need constant validation or loud displays of confidence to prove his worth. When your words come from genuine observation instead of trying to impress, they naturally carry more weight. Real attraction grows through meaningful connection, not constant self-promotion. Now let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes men make: relying on ordinary compliments. Ask yourself honestly, if you had one chance to leave a lasting impression, would you really settle for saying, "You look beautiful," or "nice outfit"? Those compliments aren't necessarily bad, but they're so common that they rarely stand out. Most women have heard them countless times before. A generic compliment focuses only on appearance. A memorable compliment shows that you've actually noticed something meaningful about the person. Lasting attraction isn't created by obvious observations. It's created when someone feels genuinely seen and understood. The goal isn't to flatter her. The goal is to communicate that you're paying attention. Over time, I've found several types of compliments that create a much stronger emotional connection because they focus on character, presence, and individuality instead of surface-level beauty. These aren't pick-up lines or tricks, they're respectful observations that demonstrate confidence and emotional awareness. If you're tired of sounding like every other man in her messages, it's time to speak with more purpose. For example, instead of simply saying, "She smells nice," you might say, "Your fragrance is unforgettable." Scent is closely connected to memory, so noticing it thoughtfully feels more personal than another comment about physical appearance. The key is saying it naturally, without invading her space or making it uncomfortable. Confidence always feels calmer than intensity. Another example is saying, "Your smile changes the whole atmosphere." Instead of complimenting her features alone, you're recognizing the positive energy she brings into a room. That shifts the focus from appearance to impact, and many people appreciate being recognized for the way they make others feel. One of the most meaningful compliments you can give someone is about authenticity. Saying something like, "I really respect how genuine you are. You don't seem like someone who changes just to fit in," acknowledges something much deeper than beauty. In a world where so many people feel pressure to perform or impress others, being appreciated for simply being themselves can leave a lasting impression because it recognizes character instead of appearance. When you appreciate a woman's character instead of focusing only on her appearance, you communicate something much deeper. You're saying, I notice the person behind the image, and that's what stands out to me. For many people, feeling understood is more meaningful than receiving another compliment about their looks. It creates comfort, encourages openness, and makes the interaction feel more genuine. While many conversations stay on the surface, choosing to recognize authenticity shows that you value who she is rather than simply how she appears. That naturally builds trust because it reflects respect instead of admiration from a distance. A man who notices character often leaves a stronger impression than someone who only notices beauty. Another powerful compliment is, I really enjoy the way you think. Your perspective makes me see things differently. Most people spend so much time commenting on appearance that they completely overlook someone's ideas. When you sincerely acknowledge her way of thinking, you're showing curiosity about who she is as a person. Instead of trying to impress her, you're inviting a meaningful conversation. That often encourages deeper discussion because people enjoy being appreciated for their minds just as much as their appearance. You can also say, your energy is contagious. Being around you motivates me to become better. This goes beyond flirting. It recognizes the positive influence someone has on your life. Rather than placing her on a pedestal, you're expressing appreciation for how she inspires growth. Compliments like this acknowledge qualities that many people rarely hear recognized, making them feel both respected and valued. Another meaningful observation is, you're one of the most thoughtful people I've met. In today's fast-moving world, genuine kindness often goes unnoticed. Maybe she remembers small details, treats everyone with respect, or consistently shows consideration for others. When you recognize those qualities, you demonstrate that you're paying attention to actions instead of appearances. That kind of observation often creates a stronger sense of trust because it shows you value integrity and compassion. A compliment that many ambitious women appreciate is, I admire your dedication. It's inspiring to watch someone pursue their goals with that much commitment. Too often, conversations focus only on physical attraction while ignoring the work, discipline, and purpose that define someone's life. Recognizing her ambition communicates that you respect her journey, not just the image she presents. It shows confidence because you're comfortable appreciating strength instead of feeling threatened by it. Another unforgettable compliment is, you have a way of making people feel important. Few qualities are more valuable than making others feel welcomed, heard, and appreciated. When you notice how someone treats the people around them, you're complimenting something much deeper than appearance. You're recognizing empathy, emotional awareness, and kindness. Those qualities often leave a lasting impression because they reflect who someone truly is. The common thread behind all of these compliments is simple. They're not designed to manipulate or impress. They're meant to communicate genuine observation. Anyone can comment on beauty, but far fewer people notice character, values, mindset, or emotional presence. That's what makes those conversations memorable. Real attraction isn't about saying more words, it's about saying meaningful ones. A thoughtful observation delivered sincerely will almost always carry more weight than a dozen empty compliments. People may forget exactly what you wore or where you met, but they often remember how they felt while talking with you. That's why delivery matters just as much as the words themselves. Speak calmly, take your time. Most importantly, only say something you genuinely believe. Authenticity cannot be faked, and people are remarkably good at sensing when someone is simply repeating a script. If you want to become someone others naturally enjoy being around, focus less on trying to impress and more on learning to observe. Listen carefully. Notice the qualities that make people unique. Speak with confidence, honesty, and intention. Those habits create stronger connections than rehearsed lines ever will. Real attraction isn't created by saying more, it's created by saying what truly matters. If you speak with honesty, confidence, and genuine intention, you'll become the man she remembers long after everyone else is forgotten. If you enjoyed this lesson, subscribe to Caroline Effect and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. And before you go, leave the word "seen" in the comments if you're ready to communicate with more confidence, more purpose, and more authenticity.